Hi guys, for this section you will need an old jumper of your choice, a pair of scissors, a ruler, and then you need like a pencil preferably. If you don't have a pencil, a pen or a piece of chalk. This is what the jumper looked like beforehand. It's a really nice jumper, but I thought it was a bit plain, and so I decided to jazz it up. So I'm going to start by working with the arms, and we're going to be working with the top of the arms that has got no seam lines on it. So we just flatten out the surface, and we're going to be getting the ruler and your pen, pencil or piece of chalk, and we're going to just mark 1 inch lines or dots going up the arm. So that's 1 inch. We're going to place the ruler, and we're going to start the lines 2 inches up from the collar or cuffs of the jumper. So we're just going to mark dots going up. And this is what it should look like. So you can see there's little blue lines or little dots. We're now going to just create lines going across, so we've got a marker to be able to cut straight lines with. So from either side of the jumper, I marched from the outside, working my way in. I done 1.5 inch gap, so that's when my line would start, and then I did it on both sides, and then just drew my lines going across. So once that was done, I made this you don't have to do, but I then just measured put the ruler at the edge of the jumper and just made my lines go up to the point of the ruler, just so then it kind of gave it like a V effect, which I'll show you before I start cutting. So here you just want to make sure that you've got enough tabs, so enough lines to cut across, so when you cut them you've got enough tabs that are linked to each other. So this is the V effect I was referring to. So the ones at the bottom would be smaller, and as you get to the top, your lines are longer. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut the jumper. So the lines that you've just created, you want to fold them in half. So you'd have half on one side and half on the other. And we're just going to cut the lines going up the sleeve. I have another technique that I'll show you on the second arm, but this is one way that you can do it. And there you have it. You have your first arm cut. So whilst I'm looking at it, I can see that I haven't gone all the way across. So I'm just going to get the scissors and just make some more kind of cuts. So I go right along the blue lines that I created. I'm going to do the second arm, and this time I'm going to use a chalk because the pen that I used was quite deep, so I feel like it was marking the jumper a bit too much. So I'm now just using by eye, just making the same 1 inch lines going up the jumper, and then again going to the edge of each jumper and just continuing to make the lines to go across. So what I wanted to do now is I wanted to check on the other arm from like the top of the shoulder down to the first cut how long it was, and it was 2 inches. So I then went back to the side I was working on and went from that seam, you can see at the top, and just marked 2 inches down. So that was where my it was going to stop. So here I'm just going to make little snips at the start of the line. So you've got to be very careful here. If you're under the, if you're in the juniors, please make sure you get support from parents to cut these lines. But yeah, I'm just making little snips in the jumper, and then I'm going to cut across. I like this technique because it kind of makes your lines a bit more neater, because you're starting from one side and going to the other, opposed to you cutting and then when you then open up the jumper, sometimes you have to snip, so your lines might not be straight. But whatever works for you, what is ever easiest and what is most safe. So if you preferred the first technique, then do that way. If you're comfortable with doing this technique, then try this one out. And there you have it. Both arms are now customized and cut up, and gives it a new dimension, gives it a new kind of effect. You could leave it there, but I'm going to add some more cuts to the jumper. So now I'm just going to be taking off the bottom band that you have at the bottom of your jumper. So you're literally just going to cut along that seam. So now we're going to turn the jumper onto the front, and we're going to be working with the back of the jumper. So we're going to fold the back of the jumper only in half. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get the ruler and the chalk, and we're going to create 1 inch lines again going from the bottom of the jumper. I would say halfway, or a mark would be that you don't necessarily want to be showing your bra top underneath fully. So just so it catches just before it starts. And then just to ensure that my lines are straight, again, I just created longer lines going from the sides all the way to the edge. Oh my gosh, I thought my jumper wasn't separated. So I nearly, I had a meltdown then. But everything's okay, so carry on. Just cut your straight lines. And this is what it looks like. So now what I'm going to do, just to give it like that fringe effect, you just pull like the from each side and it just rolls the fabric and it gives it a nicer finish. It doesn't give you that blunt edge look, it just kind of rolls the fabric, as you can see. And I'm going to repeat the same technique on the arms. This is what it looks like. So guys, you know, this is what you can do with just a pair of scissors and an old jumper. If you're not happy with, you know, or you're a bit bored of a jumper, then just get your scissors out and create this lovely effect. We call it fringing. Again, remember, please be safe when you are using scissors, and if you're under the age, ask a parent to support you with this creation. The jumper has come out.